Hello and welcome back to the Unlock Potential podcast. On this week's episode, we have David from Hemp Heros, and we spoke to him about the benefits of CBD in pets, dogs, and CBD flower. I hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for coming on, David.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How are you?
Yeah, good, not too bad.
So your business is doing so well, Hemp Heros.
Yeah.
You have a lot of foods, supplements and CBD oils and stuff like that. Would you like to start off with how we started?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I suppose I never really expected myself to be in the CBD or hemp space. I kind of fell into it in a roundabout way. So it wasn't really a conscious decision at first that like 5 years ago I was like, oh, I'm going to get into CBD. How I kind of came into it was... my background is all like business, so I done an undergrad in Tal IT, and then I was really lucky to get a scholarship to a master's in Smurfit Business School. So I done a master's in consultancy, and then went on to work in PwC. So they're one of the big four consultancy firms. So I spent just over 6.5 years there, and it was during my time there, I'd always, I suppose, had an entrepreneurial flair and wanted to start my own business. I just didn't know what it was going to be. So I think it was about a year or two into PwC, I kind of seen an opportunity to actually manage professional fighters, of all things. It was kind of
professional fighters.
Yeah. So basically my brother was a musician, and a UFC fighter reached out to him and asked him would he do some walkout music for him. So I was organising the kind of behind the scenes, trying to organise everything. And it was John Phillips, who just newly got signed for UFC, who's actually a good friend of mine still. And essentially I was organising everything, and I met with John, and he was only newly signed. So I kind of got a bit of a brainwave. I was like, look, maybe he needs a manager. I can help him with his media, his sponsors. I know a lot of people who own businesses. Like, it's a huge marketing opportunity for them and for him. So I pitched him the idea, and he loved it. So he was like, look, great idea. I'm willing to work with you. I'll give you 50% of what sponsors you bring in. So started working with him, got him a couple of different food sponsors. I don't know if you know Pure Power Nutrition.
Yeah. So they do food.
Yeah, they do all the food. Yeah, the meal prep and stuff. Yeah. So I actually got them as one of his first sponsors. So Nick, who runs the company, he worked with John for his first couple of fights. And then because of the great work I'd done with John, another fighter in SBG actually heard about me, Will, who's also a good friend now, Will Flurry. And I started managing Will too. So I was working in PwC, I suppose, full time. And then on my kind of free hours, I was helping these fighters kind of get sponsors and get media and kind of organising interviews for them. And I'd gotten Will sponsored by a couple of different brands as well. So like one of the really cool collabs he done was Mattress Mick.
No way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Mick is gas, and Mick is a real entrepreneur as well. Like he's so funny, and like some of the stuff he does, it's very much like guerrilla marketing. So like he has loads of taxis, for example, with like Mattress Mick on them. He'll park cars.
You know his face anywhere. Like, everyone knows him.
Yeah, literally anyone Irish probably knows of Mattress Mick or has heard of him or knows someone who knows him. So he's a really good presence, and it worked really well because Will has a unique look, Mick has a unique look. Will had actually done a competition in South Africa where he had to hold a mattress over his head. So I was like, this is the perfect combination here. So we got some really cool photos with the two of them, and it kind of went semi-viral, and like we actually had Mick at one of Will's fights in the Tree Arena. And the papers picked up on it, and it was like,
when
in the
was
Star.
This? I'm like, I didn't see any of it.
This would have been, it must have been about 3 years ago now, I'd say 3-4 years ago.
Probably don't remember. I definitely would have spotted that.
Yeah, so it was a really interesting thing. And one of the things I got the two guys sponsored by was CBD brands. So Will got sponsored by an Irish company, and then John got sponsored by a UK company. And when I got the products, to be honest, I wasn't really impressed. Like the quality wasn't really there, the branding, the packaging, even how to use the product. Now, like, this would have been probably mid 2017. So CBD would have been really new. So like most people thought of CBD, they instantly just thought, oh, to get you high, or like...
Yeah, they just put it all under the one bracket. It's weird. Or,
yeah, it was very much like you'd get that remark, oh, you're selling hash. Like that'd be what everyone thought. So it was still really early days. But myself and actually John at the time, we kind of sat down and we're like, look, maybe we should do something here. So I spent 8 months researching the industry. And then in 2018, we launched Hemp Heros. So when we initially launched, we started with only 4 products. So they were white label products. So what white label means is, and it's quite common in most industries. So for example, like for clothing, like most clothing brands don't have their own manufacturing. So like they'll go to a big say like manufacturer and say, look, I want X amount of hoodies with this brand on it or whatever it is and to this quality, and they'll give it to them. So like similar in CBD, there's probably maybe 20 big, huge companies which will produce CBD at scale. They'll put your label on it and then it's your brand essentially. So they'll private label for you. So we end up working with a company in the UK to start.
And they were making it for us?
They were making it for us initially, yeah, because just we didn't have the expertise to start and like the amount of equipment and machinery, everything else that was needed. Like you're talking hundreds of thousands to get up and running. So like we didn't have that investment and that money there to start. Plus we're still new to the industry. We're still learning. So we didn't really, I suppose, 100% know what we were doing. We just knew that, look, the company we're getting this stuff from has good quality products. We have the brand behind it and we'll learn as we kind of grow. So that's how we initially started. And I suppose over the last 5 years, it's came full circle. So we went from being a white label product now to manufacturing pretty much everything in-house. So we build up all our own manufacturing expertise, equipment, machinery, accreditations, everything.
So actually, when you were saying there that you were finding manufacturers in England to manufacture for you, how did you even go about that? Like, say if someone else is listening, they're like, not say, for example, CBD, but just anything. Like, how did you think, I'm going to find someone? Where did you even find the contact to do that?
Yeah, so like it took a lot of Google research, to be honest, like where I was like, I'd be cold calling companies and being like, oh, look, I'm interested in buying CBD. How's it work? I started to learn kind of some of the lingo and I suppose built my expertise up over time. So to be honest, it was 8 months of research of just like reading as many articles as I could, speaking to as many people as I could in the industry. Like I was on hemp farms in Ireland trying to understand even how it grows and trying to get that full picture. Like, and
that's what I was going to, how is it made? Like, so CBD oil, like how's it made? Is it from the flower or is it like?
Yeah, so if you want to think, I suppose if you take it a step back, so cannabis is actually a term for a family of plants. Unfortunately, when most people hear cannabis, they just think you get high. I suppose we've kind of ruined the term to an extent and it is an education piece. But within cannabis, you've kind of two main parts. So you've hemp on one side and then you've basically weed or marijuana on the other side. So if you want to think of like hemp as nearly non-alcoholic beer and then I suppose marijuana as like a bottle of vodka. So like they're two like completely separate things in terms of their chemical makeup. So like hemp is very low THC levels and THC is what gets you high. So like that's why when you smoke weeds, you get that, I suppose, high effect, you get your munchies, all of that type of thing. So in hemp, the THC level is really low. You're talking like it's 0.2, 0.3%. So like we could have this whole room full of hemp and like you'll die from smoke inhalation quicker than you'll get high from smoking it.
Yeah. And it's legal to grow if it's 0.2 or is it different flowers, is it?
So like there's different varieties of hemp. So like there's hundreds of different types of hemp. And then like the THC level is so low and that's why like it's, I suppose, non-intoxicating and it's more of actually like an industrial or agricultural crop. So like, for example, like hemp can be used to make plastics, paper, clothing. Like, so there's literally thousands of uses for it. And then obviously food products like the hemp seeds we have here, and they come from the hemp plant. So then obviously marijuana on the other side is nearly the flip. It's the opposite. So you have like really high THC levels. You're talking like 20, 30% plus. And then the CBD levels would be very small. They'd only be like probably below 1% in most cases.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they're completely different. So I suppose it is a big education piece because once people see the word cannabis or hear the word cannabis, they instantly think the THC side rather than that it could be actually hemp.
Yeah,
So,
to be honest, I thought you were going to tell me a completely different story, like of how you started or how you got into it. You were going to say I used to smoke weed all the time. Yeah, that's real. That's random. Yeah, and so did you go to school or anything like that? Or
so like I suppose I've no special background in terms of like I come from Crumlin. I'm not from like a rich, wealthy family by any means. Went to the local school like during the castle. I actually didn't do well in my leaving cert. I got 280 points.
Yeah, I seen the video that you put up. I was like, no, I done very bad. I think I got like 170. The only reason I got 170 is because I'm from Lithuania. And
okay.
I done Lithuanian for me leaving and I done higher and I think I got like 70 points from that.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that brought it up a lot. So I done very bad. Yeah, I wasn't good in school either. So, and then I seen you put up that you were, what is it, Ireland's tour, top
30
tour.
under 30,
Yeah, so what's that for anyone listening?
So like every year, the Sunday Independent, they pick some of the top 30 under 30 entrepreneurs in the country.
Yeah.
So I was actually really fortunate to get selected last year.
Yeah, that's unreal. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be recognised because like the thing as an entrepreneur, a lot of the stuff that you do, like most people don't see the behind the scenes day-to-day work. And like I was only chatting to one of my friends yesterday, and like people think you have a business and they must think, geez, that's great. He can work whatever hours he wants and like he has his weekends free, or like he has just like full freedom. But if anything, like I probably do more work than most people who work a 9 to 5. Like,
Yeah,
you don't really switch off. Like
I done I worked from 9. I think we left, for anyone who's listening, Letitia's here as well. I was with Letitia all day yesterday. I think we left at like 9 for the storm.
Yeah.
Got home, and then I was preparing for today.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. Everyone just thinks you just go in, do a little bit of work and just go home and dust.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it's mad. And you were nominated in a couple of different awards as well. There's a few I see in your page.
Yeah, so we've been nominated for a few awards. So last year, we won the National Startup Awards for product manufacturing, which was really good. So the National Startup Awards. How
do you get nominated for that? Did someone come out, have a look at the way you manufacture products and stuff?
So a lot of them are interview based. So like for that one, we applied for it. Most of these most of the awards you usually have to apply. For the 30 under 30, there is no application. They go out and look for people. So like, and then how did they find it? Did you know they found you? Like, so one of the journalists reached out to me, Sean, and he contacted me on LinkedIn and was like, oh look, I see you're doing really interesting stuff. I'd love to meet you for a coffee. And I think at the time I was actually still working in PwC, because bear in mind, I'd actually still held on to my day job for pretty much most of the time that I started Hemp Heros. So from like 2018 up until last September, I was working full time. So like I was working a full-time job as a business consultant, which isn't an easy job. Like the hours are quite long, and like some of the projects I would have done would have been like late hours, and also trying to run a company and build a company. So it wasn't easy. Like it was a lot of, I suppose, juggling and a lot of late nights and weekends and stuff. So I met with Sean, and he was like, kind of tell me your story, told him a little bit about what I was doing, and he was like, look, I really like this. I'm going to try put you forward for 30 under 30. He's like, there's no guarantee, but we'll have a chat with the team and see what they think. And then I made the cut, obviously. So
yeah, that's unreal.
Yeah.
And so what do you think then about bring it back to CBD? What do you think about the CBD flower then? Yeah,
like the CBD flower, there are people out there that sell it. We purposely don't, because I suppose Hemp Hero's whole ethos is about health and wellness. And like we don't sell any smokable products like vapes or flower,
because you'd have to put like tobacco and stuff in it. Like would you be able to smoke it on its own? Would you?
I think you can smoke the flower on its own. Now it probably wouldn't burn that well, but like the thing with the flower in particular, it's kind of a bit of a grey area. And like, for example, like there's been stores who've been raided over the flower.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
And like the issue with it is that like it's nearly indistinguishable from a look and smell to actual weed, because it looks the exact same. It smells quite similar. The only difference is genetically they're like polar opposites, as in like one is really low in THC, the other one is really high in THC. So like the hemp flower has next to no THC. You won't get high if you tried smoking your body weight of it. But the issue is if the guards pull you over and you have it in your car, they're going to look at it and go, okay, this looks like weed, smells like weed. The only way to check it's not weed is to send it off to a lab, and like it's not like they have one in the car, so like that'll take weeks. So if you had a load of it on you, they can't really take it on face value that it's not weed.
Yeah, I've heard there was a fella that I met in town that owned a CBD shop, and he was saying that like they just came in, took everything out of the shop, and didn't give it back. Like the shop was apart. I felt like they literally like raided it and like pulled everything apart and all, and that's he was like, it's not even like worth it.
Yeah, like, and there are people who like the smokable flower. It's just, if you don't already smoke, there's so many other ways to take CBD. Like we have drops, we have other kind of products there. Like the flower, it is effective, but like again, if you're not already smoking, I don't think there's a need. Yeah.
And what I seen the video that you were saying, I was taking CBD oil off a woman that used to make it herself. She's in Baldoyle. Yeah, she's meant to be really good. Like loads of people recommended her to me. Like a woman was like saying to me that her sister or something had cancer and she was taking it and she felt like much better and the cancer was gone and stuff like that. So I was like, right, okay, I'll get the number and I'll try it. I didn't have cancer or anything. But I was like thinking for stress it'll be good. So I got it. Now you were saying that it has to be really dark to be good.
Yeah, so like there's actually 3 different grades to CBD, and like the analogy I always give people is like if you had a Ferrari and I had a Micra, because they both have 4 wheels, you wouldn't say they're the same type of thing. Like you wouldn't say they're the same value, and it's kind of similar in CBD in that like you can't just compare like with like, because there's 3 main types of CBD. So you have a full spectrum, which means you have the whole plant, because in hemp there's not just CBD, there's other cannabinoids, and like the cannabinoids are nearly like, think of them like I suppose molecules. So like they all have different benefits. So like within hemp you'd have CBD, which everyone knows. You have a thing called CBDA. So CBDA is like the think of it as like the precursor to CBD. It has really good natural like anti-inflammatory and anti-nausea effects. There's also other cannabinoids like CBG and like I suppose a wide range of them. So within hemp you've kind of I suppose a list of different cannabinoids. So you want to try to get as many of them as possible in your product, because in hemp you've your full range of cannabinoids, you've vitamins, you've minerals, you've terpenes. So terpenes are like natural chemicals which give plants their smells. So you know the way like weed is that weedy smell? That's the terpenes. Yeah. And like, for example, like lemons, if you cut a lemon open, you get that lemon zesty smell. That's a terpene called laminine.
Right.
Yeah. So like all of these together, all them vitamins, minerals and cannabinoids in the hemp plant, you want to try to get as many of them as possible, because that's what you're buying your CBD for. You're trying to, I suppose, get all the benefits out of the plant. Yeah. And when you have them collectively, it's a synergy effect. So it's kind of like a 2 + 2 = 6. So that's why if you can, always try to get a full spectrum product, because it means it has all of them in there. In general, a full spectrum product is much darker because it means it's been less refined. So like, that's why I always tell people, try get as dark, I suppose, a product as possible, because it just means you're getting all of the benefits. Because if you think about it from a logical perspective, like hemp is a plant and like, it's a very kind of dark green color. Like it'd be nearly a similar color to spinach. So like, if you threw spinach in a blender, it doesn't come out clear, it doesn't come out yellow. So like, there's no green plant that comes out yellow. So that's why.
The girls that I got that the oil was real dark. Now I was horrible.
Okay.
Just like put it on their tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. You're probably best off putting it in coffee and stuff like that, are you? What way would you?
With the drops, you're actually best just taking them direct.
Oh, really?
Most times, yeah. Now you can put them into coffee. Like we have coffee flavored CBD drops, and like we've Dash Cafe and Pogue Cafe. They actually stock us.
Actually, I was wondering, because I've gotten the CBD coffee in there. I didn't realise that was used yourself.
Yeah, that's ours. Yeah, so like the products we make are all full spectrum, because we use the whole plant, because you want to get as many of the benefits out of hemp as possible, and the only way to do that is use, I suppose, the whole plant. And then the next kind of grade down is a broad spectrum CBD. So that's more of a kind of goldeny color. And you see, in order to get it from a full spectrum to a broad spectrum, you've got to process it. And most processing with CBD involves heat, because a lot of the different cannabinoids essentially like boil off at a certain point. So for a broad spectrum, what they do is they basically boil the product, and that removes the little bit of THC that's in there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And your products are in like a couple of different countries now, aren't you?
Yeah. So we are starting to sell internationally, and we're working on some really big deals. I suppose across Europe at the moment, and a little bit further. I can't talk about them just yet, because
I think you had a few posted on your Instagram now. Were you in the UK? And
so like we are going to be hopefully getting into the UK a lot more towards this year. But our plan is to launch into Malta as well. So we have signed a deal there. Then
I think that's what you had it up, that you were in Malta now.
Yeah. So we are going to be starting to sell into Malta now. We're kind of finalising everything there, which would be really nice, because Malta is, I suppose, similar to Ireland, that it's a really small country. So like also, they have a huge number of pets over there in terms of like pet ownership, and they're real pet lovers. And interestingly, in Malta, I didn't notice till I went there last year, is that nearly every second week there's fireworks that go off.
Oh, really? Yeah. So that's horrible for the dogs. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because they have these like feasts. So like Malta is a very Catholic country, so they've like loads of churches, and every couple of weeks each individual church will have like a celebration, and it means fireworks. So unfortunately, the dogs, it's like Halloween all year round. Yeah.
Oh, stop. Yeah.
So they get quite anxious. So we're looking to do stuff there, especially with some of the rescues in Malta. And then I suppose our pets range is really good for anxious pets, especially around Halloween time. So like this time of the year is a big time of the year for us, because there's a lot of people with anxious pets because of the fireworks. And like I've heard horror stories of people like even giving their own Xanax to their dogs.
Oh my God, really? Yeah. That's really so dangerous. They're not giving them the full tablet, are they?
I hope not, but like extremely dangerous. Like you can end up killing your dog. Like
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Well, someone actually went out, reached out to you and said that to you.
Oh yeah, we've had messages being like, oh, my dog gets really anxious. I usually give him like a half a Xanax, and I'm like, please don't give your dog a fucking Xanax. Like, yeah,
that's mad. Yeah, and you were saying to us that you were in Hong Kong and you can't.
Yeah, so for a short while we were selling in Hong Kong. There's actually a third grade of CBD called CBD isolate. So CBD isolate is only CBD. So like all of them vitamins, minerals, and the other cannabinoids I mentioned, you've actually removed all of them. So some countries will only allow CBD isolate to be sold because there's no trace of THC and there's nothing else in it. It's the lowest quality CBD you can buy because it doesn't have all them other elements. It means it's much less effective. So you need a huge amount of it to have an effect.
Yeah, but legally it was probably the only way you could get it.
Yeah, so legally it was the only way, and this would have been maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So Hong Kong, it was starting to like really pop with CBD, and like there was CBD cafes opening up. So we decided we'd do our pets range and the human range. So we worked on formulating like I think 2 or 3 different products, which were just going to be for Hong Kong specifically, because everything else we do is full spectrum because it's just much better quality. And our hands were kind of tied with Hong Kong that we couldn't give our full spectrum because it would have been illegal essentially.
Yeah.
So we sold in Hong Kong for I think close to nearly a year. So we had a guy over there who was helping us and kind of on the ground.
And that's just like he probably had his own shop and he was just distributing his own
products.
Yeah,
so he was kind of distributing into people and then selling kind of direct to people. And we had set up our online website as well in Hong Kong, which was kind of generating some sales. But then Hong Kong actually changed their regulation, decided to ban CBD completely, even CBD which had no THC. So as far as I'm aware, it's still banned, and any of them cafes had to completely just close.
Oh, that's mad. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Some countries are completely now saying that it's all going to be legal. Like a few countries are going like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, like because like some European countries like Germany and I think the Czech Republic, they're talking about legalizing cannabis for medical and recreational. And then you still have other countries around the world which still regard hemp and CBD products as like actual drugs that like are like highly restricted, like the Middle East. Like you wouldn't want to get caught with CBD over there, especially like Dubai. There was a guy recently enough, I think he got something like 20 years for having a CBD vape.
I heard about that. This in Dubai, yeah.
Yeah, and like interestingly then there's other countries that say like Africa, I think Ghana only just changed their regulations to grow medical marijuana. So like it's kind of a mixed bag of countries that are like, I suppose.
Yeah, that's why Amsterdam's so big.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and like the US as well, like New York now, I think they've legalized.
California.
Yeah. So yeah, it is interesting. I think the more people are educated, especially with hemp, like hemp shouldn't be restricted in any country. Like hemp has been growing for literally thousands of years. Like it goes back as far as Egypt.
Yeah.
So like
I think it's just because they have that thought of it is like it's cannabis. It's going to make you weird.
Exactly.
And it's going to make you stoned.
Yeah.
How did you go about getting your products into other countries? Like that's fair play. That's unreal. Like
so like a lot of it's kind of hard work, and I suppose it's just connecting with people and trying to find the right person who can I suppose get you into places. It doesn't always work out. Like we've had deals that have fell through in certain places.
Yeah, but if you don't try, like you probably wouldn't have went to any of them countries if you didn't, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, and I suppose it's kind of that thing: if you don't ask, you don't get. So like you have to put yourself out there. Like we've done some international trade shows in like Germany, UK, and stuff.
That, yeah.
So you do kind of have to be there. But I think
is that what way you went around it? You probably went there and then kind
of to an extent, and like we've some plans for next year now to do some European trade shows and probably some further afield as well, because it is a good way to meet people. Like this year we went to Italy. We were in a trade show for pets called Zoomark.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so that was really cool. Unfortunately, we were there. The weather was terrible. It was like flooding everywhere. So
and nobody came, did they?
Yeah, no, people came, but like I was expecting like Italy in the sun because it was in kind of summertime, but the weather was just dreadful the whole time we were there.
Yeah. No way. And then so with the pets, have you got any like good reviews of people texting you and?
Yeah, like absolutely. So like I suppose we've kind of 4 main segments to the business. So to kind of bring it back, we were, I suppose, outsourcing our manufacturing, and we had a company making it for us. We brought that all in-house. So we're really fortunate that all of our products are made in Ireland.
Yeah, actually forgot to actually mention that.
Yeah, so everything's made in Wicklow. So we have a HSE HACCP approved facility in Wicklow, and that's where all of our products are made. So what we do is we take, I suppose, raw hemp. So we work with farmers.
How did you, sorry to interrupt you, how did you, you're probably just about to say that, how did you like learn how to make that?
It was a long process, to be honest. Like over kind of a 4-year period, we kind
Probably
of
doing it all in your kitchen.
not even in the kitchen, no, but like pretty much
do something.
Yeah, but like kind of I suppose doing research online and looking at different methods, and like we developed our own method of extraction. So we use a cold press method because if you want to think of hemp like nearly like think of it like I suppose like a green tea. Like it's a plant material, so you need to get everything out of it, the benefits that you're looking to make your products. So most CBD products are made with CO2 gas, so they basically flush the hemp, and that removes all of the cannabinoids in the CBD, or they use ethanol where they soak it in alcohol, and then you've kind of an alcohol CBD mix, and then you've got to remove the alcohol, because if you don't remove the alcohol, you could actually make people blind. You'd kill them. Like it's yeah. So you have to be really careful with ethanol. Like ethanol is like it's toxic if it's in a finished product. So
right, okay, so I probably shouldn't have just got me CBD oil just off anyone. I think didn't even have a sticker or a label on it.
Yeah, well, and I would probably imagine that what she's done is the CBD isolate is like a powder, so it nearly looks like baking powder. And like if you take 1 gram of that and put it in a bottle and then mix it with hemp seed oil, you'll have a dark product that looks quite dark. But all it is just CBD isolate. Like it'll cost you about 50 cents. Like it's cheap as chips. Like so. Usually when I hear stories of like, oh, my mate makes CBD, I'm like, well, one, you're definitely not HSE approved. You have no manufacturing process, and you're probably getting powder and chucking it into bottles and mixing it with a bit of oil and then selling it for 50 quid. Like,
all right, okay, yeah. That's mad. So sorry if you interrupted there. We went off topic there. Yeah. What were you saying? How you make it?
Yeah, so like we work with farmers and we get organic hemp and then we process it into finished goods. So we use high pressure and low heat, which means that we've no solvents in our products. So like it's much safer because there's no issue with ethanol. And it's more environmentally friendly because we're not using any solvents or we're not using chemicals. It's all natural. So that's why like our oils are really dark, and like we've nothing in there, just cold press CBD. And we use MCT oil in our human products as our carrier oil, because CBD works best with a fat soluble. So like most people use MCT oil, some people use hemp seed oil, others who use olive oil because it's cheaper. And then we've just natural food flavoring. So like our products are as natural and organic as possible, essentially.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Yeah.
So with the anxiety and stress, have you had anyone like texting you saying that it's improved their stress levels or depression as well? Like,
yeah. So we've our human food supplements, we've food products, cosmetics, and then we've our pets range. So like we've 26 different products now because we just launched the chocolate, and we've other products kind of in the pipeline. So like on the human side, like all of our products are food supplements. So like we're not medical products and we don't make medical claims, but like anecdotally we've seen huge results. Like probably one of the biggest reasons people use our products would be for sleep. Like it works really well for sleep, and we're working with a guy at the moment. He's a really good guy called Tom Coleman. So Tom is a sleep expert, and like Tom does fantastic work in terms of helping people with their sleep hygiene, getting the kind of structures in place that like you can, I suppose, have a better quality sleep, and then supplements kind of come second, because like at the end of the day, if you're drinking 4 cups of coffee and you're on the phone or playing your Xbox just before bed, you're going to be wired to the moon. Like no amount of CBD is going to fix that straight away. So we're working with Tom to hopefully develop a sleep study, because like we have 227 5-star reviews on Google. So like we have a huge amount of reviews, amazing, and about half of them are for sleep.
Yeah.
So like we've so many people use it for sleep. Like I personally use it for sleep myself, and like I've necessarily no kind of issues with sleep. Sometimes I find it hard to switch off if I've had like a hectic day or I know I have a busy week. So I just find it helps me, I suppose, switch off if my mind is racing and get a deeper sleep.
And would you recommend taking that like an hour or two before?
Yeah, so I usually take mine about 40 minutes before bed, try not to be on my phone, and then I usually try to read a book, and usually reading just puts me asleep.
Yeah. It's the scrolling on your phone.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I suppose if you're on TikTok and you're looking at like in a space of 10 minutes, you could look at like 200 videos because they're only like a couple of seconds. So like you're wired to the moon, your brain is going mad, where with the CBD, it just helps you switch off and helps you get into that deeper sleep. So like I wear the Whoop, and Whoop are one of the only wearables that actually in your sleep diary, they'll ask you how much CBD you take. So they measure it as like...
yeah, actually. Yeah. I had a set to be that I had to watch. It was great. Yeah. But it made me like real, like I'd sleep for like 8 hours and it was like what did I say? 43% recovered. And I'm like, I'm just sleeping for 8 hours. And then say like you went out like drinking or something. Then it's like saying your It used to just stress me out. Had it for a couple of months and then I was like, oh no, I'm actually making myself worse. Just stressing myself out, like worrying about it. I'd be like, oh no, I'm not 100% recovered now. I need to go back to sleep.
Yeah, and I've kind of had that as well. So like I don't use it as an absolute guarantee. I kind of use it as a guide. So like some mornings I wake up and it would be low and I'm like, I actually feel fine to go train or go gym. Where like other days, like if you're drinking, it will tell you the next day when you feel like shit, you're like, oh yeah, it's everything's in the red. That makes kind of sense. And like even if when I get a cold or a flu, usually it does show up that like your recovery is low. So it's good as a guide. It's not gospel, I suppose. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, I had someone telling me that it told her she had COVID.
No way.
Yeah, it came up. She's a heart doctor. She actually recommended me to get it.
Ah, okay.
She was just like, oh, it's great. She was like, it came up saying you have COVID, get a test. And she was like, what? She hadn't got a test and she actually had it.
No way.
Yeah, it's mad. Now I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, I actually liked it and then I didn't and I just stopped using it. Now I'm like, I still have it, so I might start using it again.
Yeah, because like I like looking at it for my sleep. So like usually like depending on how busy a week is, I could get like 6 hours sleep or I could get 8 hours sleep if it's I suppose if I'm getting to bed early and I don't have too much on. But like my deep sleep and my REM sleep, which are the ones that I suppose are part of that helps you recover, I usually get about 2.5 to 3 hours, which is like probably higher than average. I think most people get about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So like I put a lot down to the CBD and obviously having good sleep hygiene. So like as I said, we'd have a huge amount of people who use our products for sleep. Like Brian Keane, he's one of our ambassadors. So Brian does loads of ultra marathons. He's a really active guy. He has like our CBD as one of his staples for sleep. So like he uses our stuff pretty much every night for his sleep and recovery. And like I mean, Brian has done some crazy ultras. Like he done the Marathon des Sables, which is one in like the desert. So it's like 5 days like unsupported in the desert. You have to bring like anti-venom in case you get bit by a snake. Like it's one of these insane things that like very few people in the world ever do. So Brian is a very kind of
what do you mean unsupported? Like no one there with him?
Yeah, there's no one there with you. Like you're completely on your own. Like you bring all your supplies
for
with
5
you.
days.
Yeah,
and is it constant running?
Yeah, I think it's about like 120 kilometers or something. It's something insane.
Oh, that's mad. In the desert. Where is that?
I think it's like I'm not exactly sure. It might be like the Mojave or one of the deserts, but it's like, it's pretty intense.
That's mad. And you are doing studies, research in Swansea University, aren't you?
Yeah, so that's the other thing that I suppose there's a couple of things that makes us unique. So like most CBD products in the market are white label or private label, what we discussed earlier. So like if you
they don't know what's in it, they just put their labels on it. Yeah,
well like that's the thing. And like I've heard horror stories of like hemp being grown in China in feces and then that's being used to make CBD products. And like if you're buying your CBD ingredient from China, like there's no oversight where you're getting it from, how it was grown, what's in it. There could be anything in it. So like the fact that we work with farmers directly, our stuff is certified organic. We are going for our organic cert at the moment to confirm everything. And that takes a little bit of time. But like the kind of buck stops at us because we know exactly what goes into our products because it's us doing it, where 90% of CBD products in Europe are white label. So they get their product off a big manufacturer and they put a lot of faith in that manufacturer that one, the ingredients that are meant to be in there, like in terms of the CBD levels are there, and worse, that like nothing else isn't in there, like that, like a contaminant or something else. Yeah. So I suppose that's kind of makes us unique in one sense in that we manufacture in-house where most people don't. The fact that we don't use solvents as well is quite unique because again, the bulk of the industry use CO2 and ethanol because it can be done at scale. It's much cheaper to do. And the way that we do our process, it is a bit more expensive. It's a little bit longer, but it gives a much better quality product. And like one of our big ethos is it's quality over quantity. So like we're very much quality driven. And like when we have customers buy our products, they see the difference between other CBD brands. So like we've had people like continuously say to us, oh, I've tried loads of different CBD products and by far yours is superior because I can see the quality, I can see the effect firsthand. And then like the other thing in terms of studies, we're one of the only companies in Ireland and probably in the CBD space in Europe who are doing clinical studies. So like about 2 years ago, we worked with Swansea University and that initially was going to be a study in their labs, but COVID hit. So it meant we couldn't do it.
Yeah, he's never done it.
Yeah, so what we done is we kind of flipped this study a little bit and we decided to do more of kind of like a research study. So what we done there was we looked at all of the studies that have been done on CBD across the world. And it gave us a really good footprint to kind of, or I suppose a map to understand what areas that were maybe lacking in research or that we could kind of explore. So like the kind of three main areas that we looked at were sleep, anxiety and stress, and inflammation and pain. And at the moment we're kind of tackling some of them with UCD. So like on the pet side, we're working on a clinical study for osteoarthritis in dogs. So it's a pain management study. And unfortunately, like I suppose pets have joint issues and arthritis, and about 1 in 5 dogs will suffer with hip issues or joint issues at some point in their life. So it's a huge amount because like, geez, in Ireland, I think 1 in 2 households have dogs or cats.
Yeah.
So like there's a huge amount of pets out there who will eventually have, I suppose, joint issues. And it's very sad. Like I have a mix between a husky and a German Shepherd.
I had a husky as well.
Oh, lovely, yeah. And like touch wood, he has no joint issues whatsoever. Like I give him the CBD pretty much every day in his food. But like unfortunately, most big dogs like German Shepherds, Huskies, Labradors, certain breeds are just susceptible to joint issues. So it's a really big problem. So the study we're doing at the moment is to explore how our unique cold press CBD can help manage pain for dogs with osteoarthritis.
And so with the CBD, will you have a different one for like humans and then a different one for pets?
Yeah, so what we've done is we formulate our pet products slightly different to our humans. So the dosage is different, it's done by their weight, and how we formulate is slightly different. And then also the carrier oil that we use. So in our pets range, we use salmon oil because most cats and dogs like, I suppose, salmon and fish. And that works really well. So like we've a huge pets range. We've about 10 products in the pets range. And the study that we're doing at UCD, it's the first in the world to be done with a cold press CBD product. So like most studies that have been done on pets with CBD have been done with that thing called CBD isolate that we mentioned earlier, which is the cheapest stuff. And it's I suppose it's the least effective because it doesn't have the full range of cannabinoids and everything in there. So we've been working with the veterinary college and one of the surgeons up there called Marie Pauline. So Marie would be one of the head veterinary surgeons at UCD for small animals. And we've been working with them probably for the last about 8 months. So the study, the way it's kind of structured, we made sure to do it, I suppose, as best as possible with the kind of resource that we had. So it's a double-blind placebo. So what that means is half of the dogs in the study will get CBD, and then half of them get hemp seed oil, which is basically it's our control. And then that runs for 6 weeks, and then it flips. So what happens is we have a washout with 6 weeks, and then say if your dog got the CBD first time around, now you won't know which product you're getting. It's completely blind because we don't want you to be influenced and go, oh, he's getting the CBD, I think he's moving better. So you're completely in the dark. The vets are completely in the dark as well because we don't want them to influence the study. We're the only ones who know what sample the person gets. So they just get a bottle with the instructions on how to use it, and it says sample 1, 2, 3 up to 30. And if you got CBD first time around, we make sure you get the hemp seed oil the next time around. So it means we have a comparison between the two. And you won't know, you just give us a report and say, look, in sample 1, I found the dog was moving much better. He looked like he was able to get on the couch easier, blah, blah, blah. Or like sample 2, didn't see any change. Like his joints aren't like any better. So because it's a double-blind placebo, it's very well structured that like we can't influence the study, the vets can't influence it, or the participants. Yeah. So it's really well structured. So we'll actually have that paper published, fingers crossed, by this December.
Yeah. And what way is it looking now?
Like it's looking like amazing so far. Like we've had feedback from one participant in the study that she actually. Is this like say people who are bringing their dogs to the vet and they're being asked, would you like to participate in this? Exactly. Yeah. So what we done is we put an open call out and we said, look, we're doing a study with UCD. I think we needed 20 dogs at the start for the study. So we're like, we need 20 dogs, ideally dogs which have hip dysplasia or arthritis. And if you could get in touch, and then working with UCD, we kind of started to contact people. There was a couple of criteria that they needed. So like we needed to get scans done to prove that the dog had joint issues and arthritis. I think they had to be above a certain weight in around, I think maybe 5 kilos. And then there was other criteria that they had to meet. And then once they matched that criteria, then we had to ask them, look, there is a bit of a commitment here. You will have to come to the veterinary college in UCD about 4 times to get first assessed, get your sample, then get assessed at the end of the first sample, and then come back again twice more.
But your dog is sick, you do want.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But like one of the people in the study, she actually quoted, she was like, it was like a miracle drug. She was like, my dog was moving so much better. He couldn't get up the stairs, he couldn't get on the couch. He was flying up the stairs. His mood was better, his appetite, everything. He wanted to go on walks again, like night and day difference. And like we've seen that firsthand as well, anecdotally, like the amount of reviews that we get in. And like I would recommend people to check our Google reviews. Like we only got one there last week for a dog with arthritis and has issues with fireworks for Halloween. And she said like the dog is like a new dog. We were able to reduce his medication. Like he's doing so much better. And then on the pet side, we work with 11 major animal rescues across the country. So like we work with pretty much most of the major ones, bar Dogs Trust at the moment, which hopefully we'll start to work with at some point. But like the DSPCA, Dogs Angels, Dogs in Distress, the Husky Rescue, Guide Dogs to the Blind, and Wicklow Welfare. Like we work with a large range of them. And under our Giving Back program, they get our products for free every month. So we give them our CBD drops, capsules, whatever they want, peanut butters. And they use
do peanut butters as well.
Yeah, we do peanut butter for dogs.
Dogs love them,
Yeah. So we give them all the products for free and they get to use them in the shelters or with some of the foster families. And like the results they see from it is absolutely phenomenal in terms of like anxiety, joint issues, skin problems. Recently in the last year, we've had so many people using it actually for epilepsy in their dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it works extremely well. So like anecdotally, we've had, like we only got a review there actually the other day from someone who said that like his dog was having epileptic fits every kind of like 3 to 4 weeks. It's now been, I think, 3 months since he's had a fit and he's been on the CBD and that's the only thing they've changed.
How long was the dog using the CBD? It didn't say.
He's only been using it there the last kind of 3 months.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
And like
since then,
he hasn't had a fit, touch wood. And then we've had other people who've had kind of similar experiences where they've been epileptic free a couple of months or the frequency of the seizures have reduced.
Like for a person?
These are for pets, yeah.
Oh, right, I thought you were saying the person as well. Like
no, well we do. We do have people taking our products for epilepsy as well, and seeing, I suppose, similar results to an extent. Now, like the research still isn't there. There is a lot of research that's been done on epilepsy, and funny enough, the only medically approved CBD product in the world is for epilepsy in children. So, like, there is a lot of research showing that it can be helpful, and we haven't personally done it ourselves just yet, but after we do the arthritis study in dogs, the plan is actually to do an epilepsy study in pets as well, and then use them as kind of a baseline to bring into human studies. Because the way CBD works is it works on all mammals. So like that's why it works on humans, it works on cats, dogs, elephants, horses, you name it. As long as it's a mammal, it'll work and it'll have an impact.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know 2 dogs now that I was saying to you earlier on, and they were taking CBD and they were better.
Yeah.
They're flying around and eating again, and
Yeah, and like it just like especially for anxiety, it works really well. Like, and that'd be one of the main reasons the rescues use it. Because if you think about it, they're bringing in dogs who are like
probably
God knows,
been beaten and whatever else,
like God knows what's happened to them. They're in a completely new environment. Like they don't know where they are. They don't know who they're with. Are they going to hurt them as well? So it takes about a lot of time to, I suppose, acclimatize and start to trust people again. So what the rescues find is when they give them the CBD, it just helps them settle a lot quicker and they decompress a lot easier in the shelter. And that again, it helps with them getting adopted. It makes it a bit easier for their process. And like we have people who will adopt them and then they will continue with the CBD because they find it effective and it does help.
Yeah, I have a rescue cat. She has like a half an hour. She's very old now. I think she's about 14.
Oh, right.
Barely has any teeth or anything. But she's like still scared of people. She'd have to like come to her real close.
Yeah.
Like. So that's what I'm like thinking now. I might actually get some for a
yeah,
cat,
of course. Yeah, no, I'll give you a bottle. And then like, especially in the joints. And I suppose the really interesting thing, like in CBD, there's still a lot of people out there who think that it's all just bullshit and it's all placebo and it's just in your head. And like, if you take a CBD product, like it's just you thinking it's working and that's why it's having an effect. But with pets, it's very unique because there is no placebo effect.
Yeah, they don't know what you're giving to them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't whisper in your dog's ear like you're getting CBD now, so all your joint problems are fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it's very clear cut. It works or it doesn't. And like that's why we're actively paying and pursuing clinical studies because like we want to prove our products are the best because we know we make really high quality products that are effective, that give people true value for money. So by having this research to back it up, it makes it a lot easier because I can understand like I have a dog. I wouldn't just willy-nilly just give my dog something.
Just anything,
yeah. Just anything because I'd be like, Jesus, is it okay for him? Would it hurt him? Is it going to do any damage? So having them clinical studies to be able to show people and be like, hey, look, here's our study. We've proven that our product helps with pain or inflammation or anxiety. Like we're an Irish product. Everything is made in Ireland. Here's all our quality marks. And like, again, that's why we work with so many rescues because we're still a young growing company. We can't just write blank checks. But we have really good products that are effective. So one of the ways that we, I suppose, help and give back is by giving them as much product as they want. And like when we initially started with the Giving Back program, we only had the DSPCA who we were working with. And over the last couple of years, we've reached out to more and more rescues and added more on. So now we have 11. And hopefully towards the end of the year, we'll have even more. And as we kind of enter into new countries, our plan is to continue with that process of giving back and working with more and more animal rescues across the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's very good. So if anyone is looking to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find us on hempheros.ie. So our full range of products for humans and pets are up there. Everything's up there. We free delivery for anything over €54, which is quite good.
Yeah.
And our pets range is stocked in 80 plus pet stores. So we're in pretty much most major pet stores. Bar Max's here at the
I've
moment.
seen it in a few places, yeah.
Yeah. And then our human range should be in a lot more health food stores and pharmacies, hopefully towards the end of the year. So that's something that we're trying to, I suppose, grow out, because there are people who use our products like all across the country. Like there's probably no county in Ireland that we don't have a customer in. But I understand some people like to buy just in their local store. It's just easier. It's more convenient. So we are working on that and trying to make it easier to access our products.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. If you're looking to reach out, you can find us on Instagram at Unlocked Potential Podcast or Demi's Nails and Beauty. And make sure to subscribe to our channel. See you next time.